Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. I still have not put the books back in the bookshelf. Bookshelf's empty and I got piles on the floor. Still got to do that. Anyway, today's topic is going to be, is TMS unfelt emotional and mental pain? Interesting. So, I'm going to take a couple of breaths. It's evening here. Just got back from a trip to see Mom, so I didn't get a chance to record today. Breathe in the peace. Exhale the noise and the static. All right. So, this TMS, this mind-body syndrome, these pains created by emotional stress phenomenon, are these things essentially unfelt emotional and mental pain, right? And so, if we go back to Sarno theorized that TMS was caused by the brain's perceived need to protect us from these repressed negative emotions, primarily rage, that the brain perceived as too dangerous, as and really needed to protect us from them. And that definitely fits with, the purpose of pain. Pain's here to protect us from anything the brain perceives as dangerous. So Sarno's theory makes sense. And so, I will say, in my opinion, emotional work and allowing ourselves to feel some of the unmentionables, the things that we really don't want to feel, that we perceive make us a bad person if we feel, those things can kind of accumulate, create this emotional energy that can somehow manifest itself in chronic physical pain or other symptoms. And so I would say the answer to the question of the title of this video is yes. Unfelt emotional or mental pain, when you just kind of reject or deny the fact that you've got all of this stuff going on, and you push it away, you resist it, those emotions tend to build up, they accumulate. They don't go away when you ignore them. They tend to accumulate. It's kind of like a pressure cooker. And eventually, it blows. In other words, if the nervous system is just this accumulation of all of this stress, tension, emotional pain, mental pain, our own thinking caused pain, global, politics pain, COVID pain, and we've just kind of reject it, and we never allow any of those emotions to be felt or processed, they can accumulate. So if you imagine, a pot on the stove, and all we do is take all these emotions and shove them in there, eventually it's going to overflow. When it overflows, that's when we get symptoms. So I believe that's a lot of what's going on, and at least that's what causes the vast majority of TMS. Now I will say this, once TMS starts, it can kind of take on a life of its own, right? Because then we get kind of drawn into the medical world, where we go get checked out, we start doing research, we become traumatized by the medical system that has so far proven unsuccessful in helping us get rid of these pains and or other chronic symptoms, chronic illness. And so there are some cases where people have a true injury which starts things, and where Sarno's theory may not apply at all. And I've talked to many of my coaching clients who started out with a car accident or a true injury, a true fall, that became persistent and chronic. And it may have had nothing to do with their emotional world at the time or in the present. But the fear and the focus on that injury is what may have caused it to become persistent and chronic and stick around. And so I think there's a couple of facets here. Yes, TMS is, perhaps this protection from or distraction from this emotional repressed emotions, which is essentially unfelt emotional pain. And mental pain is really the same thing, because when we have mental pain and that suffering I talked about yesterday, the mental pain causes the emotional pain. They're interconnected very tightly. So we don't even necessarily need to separate the two from mental pain and emotional pain, because the mental pain causes emotional pain, in my opinion. So yes, unfelt, meaning repressed, resisted emotional pain can definitely cause this thing called TMS to start, or it can definitely cause symptoms to flare. And again, once we have the symptoms, whether it was a true injury or the onset of TMS, which can feel like an injury, again, it takes on a life of its own. The fear and the attention we give it makes it persistent. And oftentimes, the more fear we have, the more freaked out we are, and the more uncertain we are as to the cause of it, the more and more and more intense things can get, to the point where people are completely at their wits' end and really not certain about anything. And life takes on a pretty dark look to it. But the good news is we know that this phenomenon goes on. We also know that this is really just a result of a brain and a nervous system that's just learned through fear and research and misinformation and failed medical treatments and everything else that, oh my God, it's dangerous living in this body. And really, the name of the game here is teaching ourselves that we're really not in danger. That if all of this pain or other symptoms have started as a result of unfelt emotions, emotional stress, tension, buildup, overflow, we can teach the brain to reverse it. Fear and attention makes it chronic or persistent. Take away the fear, because we know it's nothing really truly wrong with our body. We're not in danger. We're not in harm's way. It's massively uncomfortable for sure. But we take that away. We shift the attention back to doing normal things and living our life. And over time, the brain gets the message that, oh, okay, we're really okay. So, is recovery all about feeling those unfelt emotions? That's part of it. Yeah, for certain. But it's not all of it. So if you're on this mission to go find these long-lost repressed emotions, and you're still not better, have you done the other side of this equation, which is truly teaching your brain that you're safe and your body's okay? Because there are plenty of people who are just focusing on the safety aspect and not doing the emotional work, and they're still getting well. And I will say to the people who have done the emotional work and you've not gotten better yet, that may be evidence that it's not just the emotional work. It's also the safety stuff. So I think if you want to maximize your odds, allow yourself to feel your current emotions, your right now stuff, because we don't have to dig up what happened in 3rd grade to get better today and teach the brain that we're okay today. But it does make sense to stop resisting and repressing emotions and give yourself this open house, open door policy for emotions. So as they come in and as you're experiencing them, feel them, experience them, so that they can be felt and released and pass and stop accumulating. So again, it's not just about feeling emotions. It's not, in my opinion, it's not about digging up the old crap. Because if the old crap's not haunting you, why would you possibly want to bring it in and experience it again? That to me kind of falls in line with re-traumatizing ourselves with something that may not have bothered us for decades. So I don't think that's the answer. But I do believe that a portion of this is learning and teaching our own brain that emotions are safe by actually feeling them, so that we stop accumulating and resisting and repressing. And that, in essence, kind of crosses off emotions in the list of potential dangers that our brain is trying to protect us from. So yes, feel the emotions. I like the right now stuff. And then work on the safety messages. And I've done recently, consistent messages of safety. Super important to do. And at request of a couple of people, I'm probably going to document those and put them into a PDF file available for download on my website. Not there yet, but I will let people know when that's done. That may be a project for, the next few days. So, is TMS unfelt emotional pain? I would say could be. But again, there could be cases where that's not in play and it's just an injury that we convinced ourselves has not healed, or a surgery that we convinced ourselves was botched and we convinced ourselves it hadn't healed, even though the body did heal. It's just the fear and the attention we've given the pain from those events that caused it to stick around. I do believe the body heals. So, in any event, hopefully you guys found some value in this. Comment below, let me know your thoughts. And yeah, that's what I got for you today. Love you guys and gals, and we'll see you tomorrow.